It's real nice getting a little bit more space. One More is on a tear this year. I really enjoyed my time with the Evo earbuds and the Sonoflow cans. They also sent over the Aero for me to take on a spin and share some thoughts. The Aero are a fun little pair of buds with a really interesting tech twist. Built largely like their Comfo buds, the Aero are a stock design earbud with a shallow tip. Now, I personally like earbuds that sort of march in and invade your brain. But if you don't like something like that, something that internal, the Arrow are going to be a comfortable fit for you. Again, like the Comfo buds that share a similar casing, they're designed to be comfortable. Very familiar territory for a good mainstream earbud. Simple tap commands for play, pause, and answering calls. I always hope to see a bit more flexibility for additional options on controls. We can tweak double tap and triple tap per ear, but I always like being able to dig in more on things like single tap and long press functionality. One of the major changes from the Comfo buds, the case is a flat, broad shape, and it includes wireless charging where the Comfo buds do not. Battery life is pretty decent. One More advertises around 5 hours per charge with ANC on. On my first full charge, I got around 4.5, so I think we're in pretty good shape there. Fast charging can get you up and running really quick, and with the case, you should be good for around 20 hours of total playback. Bluetooth 5.2 AAC is the top high-quality codec. There are 3 microphones per ear for calling and noise reduction, and these are Quiet Max enabled, which is one more solution for not only reducing noise, but also minimizing the impact of ANC on the audio you play, especially for less distortion. We get a wider frequency range of noise cancellation, and One More's adaptive ANC is pretty good. You can hear those noise reduction changes, I mean, especially when you have varying noise levels, like when you're walking on a busy road. My personal issue with fit, I just wish I could get them in a bit deeper, or if One More could include some spongier ear tips. I would prefer having better passive noise isolation before we had this really solid ANC kick on. The reverse of that, the ambient mode is pretty good. It's natural. I get a little sensitive to noise in these pass-through audio modes. So when I'm in a controlled environment like here in my office and I'm typing on the keyboard, I think these are doing a pretty good job of rolling off some of the high end. I can't hear quite the same sharp click attack on my clacky keyboard as if I had the earbuds out and I were just listening naturally. But one of the tricky spots for a lot of earbuds, I mean, especially around kids, I'm picking up my daughter from school, and shrill sounds going through microphones into these drivers, into my ears. I always manage to find just a little bit of a shock or a pierce that can be a little unpleasant. On the whole, I think One More is delivering a very good version of this solution, especially when we factor in the price.
And of course, a quick microphone test, not a call quality test. This isn't going up over a network and coming back down. We're just trying to get a sense of what these microphones can do on their own. This is a really still day. There's like no wind right now. We should get a pretty good idea how these mics are going to pick up my voice. There are some really pretty birds chirping and stuff, so I'll be curious to see if any of that environmental audio is still on this recording. But you can at least hear what this is going to do before it gets compressed for a phone call.
All of this technology is on point, but these are earbuds and they're meant for reproducing sound. And this is where the conversation gets a bit more interesting. The sound quality on its own is solid, but One More is delivering. The focus of this is more on the tech and control side. So we've got a 10mm driver on tap, totally flat out of the box. I like the general shape of this playback. Good articulation in the mids, vocals are clear, the bass attack is present without too much decay or rumble kind of rolling over other instruments, and the highs kind of edge off right where I need them to keep music and audio from getting unpleasant. I don't like it when my pop tracks get too shrill because we've got like a deep V and it's really, really bright in the highs. I really don't have a good scientific way to describe this. It's more just the feeling like, yeah, this is a good practical earbud. Where these light up is on some of that control. I'm so happy to see more companies delivering not only EQ presets, but also a user customizable EQ preset. You've got 12 options to tap through, or you can really get in there and tweak a shape that fits your exact needs. But that brings us to the big hook. On top of being a solid daily driver earbud, One More is adding spatial audio with head tracking It's $100 headphone. That's kind of nuts. There's no special app or music service you need to use. Anything you listen to can be fed through 1More's hardware to create the illusion of surround sound. This earbud helps verify one of my issues with other software surround sound solutions. For me, this illusion of space often fails because I hear this acoustic manipulation and it perfectly follows my head. That's not how surround sound works. That's not how live audio works. You have a source and your head moves through the direction of the sound waves, and it gives your brain location data so that you really get a sense of what you're listening to and where it is. Now, on a $100 earbud, I have that kind of head tracking, and it's a much better illusion, IMO. I think 1More has balanced this well. The spatial trick is not an extreme manipulation of audio data. And on first listen, it's kind of basic, just like some stereo widening, maybe a little EQ manipulation to help reposition audio data in space, but that helps it stay more natural as you start moving your head around. And it also tracks decently well. I like to listen to videos while I cook, and moving around my kitchen means I'm constantly changing position and orientation from the original playback spot. And in general, the Aero could keep up with my head direction. Every now and then I'd need to give it a pause and replay to get it reoriented, but that isn't needed often because there's no fancy chip or line of sight technology here. So if the phone moves, the audio doesn't track the phone. It's a more passive relationship. It's a little bit more like older gaming headsets that could pull off this trick, but it's still nicely effective, especially for movies and gaming. You push play in the direction of the video that you're looking at, and it's a speaker-like experience for that audio panning. Overall, spatial audio is still early tech for consumers, and I think it can be fun, but it's still not going to perfectly work across all audio. The inclusion of head tracking, I think that really helps improve the representation, but occasionally you're still going to hit a stereo mixed track that just sounds weird when you hit it with spatial playback. Lastly, the app is solidly laid out. Options for ANC, but I definitely start with the adaptive ANC toggled first. Smart loudness is kind of a fun trick. It's like a real-time compressor or limiter, I think. As you change the volume on headphones, that can alter the frequency response of playback depending on how much power is going to the driver. I'm grossly oversimplifying. So smart loudness aims to preserve instrument detail at all volume levels, even when you're listening really, really quiet. And I am stoked to see dual device connection, so you can easily swap between two host audio sources. There's also auto pausing when you take the earbuds out. And 1More included the soothing sounds option. I just think this is a nice touch. You can just have some nice background sounds playing when you need to focus on something else. I think those are well thought out audio experiences because there's a lot more we can do with audio products beyond just playing music for a workout. Wrapping this all up, we're seeing incredible technology fall to ridiculous prices. The Aero MSRP is the same as the original launch price for the Comfo Buds Pro, and the Aero are launching with a $20 off coupon. It is really easy to point to earbuds that I prefer for audio quality, like the 1More EVO, but those cost $60 more. Now that I've played with these, I really hope we see an EVO refresh where they can add this spatial audio trick. As is my normal general note for 1More reviews, I don't know that I would recommend them to the thirstiest bass head skull rumble junkies. They respond well to some EQ tweaking, but really, if you're trying to rattle the fillings out of your teeth, I think they get a bit muddier when you start hitting them with like the bass boost. I'd probably still point the rumble junkies more in the direction of something like Soundcore, but for my tastes, especially when we're talking about a little clarity in the mids, again, how we roll off the highs, I've always really liked how 1More tunes their earbuds. Beyond that, it's tough getting too nitpicky. Silly comparison, let's do this. Apple introduced some killer tech on the AirPods Pro 2, and feature for feature, every piece of the AirPods is better than the Aero. The ANC is a little more dramatic, the ambient mode is a little more natural, and the head tracking can better see your position relative to the audio source. They're also more than twice the price full MSRP. The Aero can get you to most of that AirPod experience for a lot less cash. I really like what 1More is doing in the consumer audio space. Their recent products have been fantastic, and the Aero, these are a really fun option to add to their lineup. So I will, of course, drop some links below where you can find more information on the 1More AERO, these earbuds with spatial audio and all the other bells and whistles. There's probably a coupon code. If you're catching this video close to the time of the launch, you can save yourself even a little bit more cash on what's already a pretty affordable earbud. As always, thanks so much for watching, for sharing these videos, and subscribing to the channel. All the support lately has been absolutely fantastic. If you're checking out the links below, if you're hitting my home site, SomeGadgetGuy.com, if you're buying some merch, or if you're joining the list of names scrolling by on your screen from my Patreon, patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. This list of folks, basically the coolest tech pals in the universe. So I hope you'll check them out. Now, you know where you can find me around the rest of the internet, at SomeGadgetGuy on the Twitters and the Twitch, not so much on the Facebooks and the Instagrams, but I will catch you all on the next review.